very special, um, I would say like mournful weekend of Tisha B'Av, of the 9th of Av, and reminding us of the inner and outer mourning. And we're shifting the day after Tisha B'Av. It actually like kind of lingers over till the midday of the next day, till Monday midday, because the Beit HaMikdash, historically the temple was burning for the next half a day. And so a lot of the customs still apply until then, and then things change over. And we shift over into the period of like um more into full moon mode where the Tu B'Av, the 15th of Av, coming up into this week, which will be Saturday, will be Friday night and Saturday, actually, this Shabbat, such an exciting Jewish holiday called Tu B'Av, the 15th of Av. And it's a very underplayed Jewish holiday because nobody knows much about it. I mean, modern Israel calls it Jewish Valentine's Day, and they celebrate like historically the Jewish girls used to go out into the fields and dress in white and dance and actually make a dance party on Tu B'Av. But the essence is that the moon is at its most full time of the month, the 15th of Av. And this specific month out of the whole year is the time when the moon is at its most powerful time of like the whole year. So this is like the most powerful full moon of the year, which is it. And historically it was the shift of the mourning and the destruction and the like I said last week, the consequence of the Jewish people's negative cycle that they got themselves into, and that the consequence of them having to stay, the generation that had to die out in the desert after the leaving of Egypt, because they were not ready to accept God's gift of the land of Israel. They sent spies, they were afraid, they didn't say thank you for the gift and go in head first, knowing that whatever comes their way and however different it is and however many unknowns there are, God is leading them and giving them something good. And they didn't trust that. Ultimately there was no trust. So Hashem gave them the consequence that, okay, you're not trusting me. That's fine. You don't have to go into the land. Your children will go into the land. They will inherit it. And this generation, like I said last week, they died out. They started dying out on like the 9th of Av. Was like they would every single year, quite a handful of like the men between the age of 20 and 60 would um, almost like lay down in their graves and like get ready to potentially be taken. And by the time it was the 15th of the month and they weren't taken, they realized that, okay, wait, like this, we're still got another year to live. Like that was the cycle of how it worked. So the 15th became this day of celebration from that point of view. And it was like a new lease on life for at least another year, etc. Um, and obviously for the next generation, like they were going to be the ones that go into Israel and get the blessing. And even Moshe had to stay behind as part of that generation and could only see the land from a high top because he asked God for the blessing of being able to at least see the land in his lifetime and was given that blessing. And then, but he couldn't, Hashem said, no more begging. And that's this week's Torah portion, which says, and I begged from Hashem. I begged Hashem to change his decree. But as a leader of the people, Moshe, obviously, like the question is like how, if someone's so spiritual and there's such an influence on God kind of thing, how could Moshe have been like restrained and held back from like going into the land? And the answer is that Moses himself felt that he couldn't leave his generation and go ahead of them, and he had to give it over to the next leader, Joshua, and he had to cut the losses, sadly. And we know that when Mashiach comes, we'll all be reunited with Moses and all the leaders of the Jewish people and the Jewish people, and we'll all go into the land of Israel and be able to celebrate, etc. So anyway, going back to this Tu B'Av that's coming up, we've now shifted the energy from a mourning sad, melancholic type of energy of Tisha B'Av and going into an energy of celebration and joy and upliftment um and we need to fine tune that into our own lives. So how do we take the cosmic energy and bring that into our personal energy? Like that's the real essence of our soul talk. We take the cosmic energy and we look how to take the general flow of what Hashem's world and timing brings us and apply it to our lives. And when we do that, we're not working against things, but we're working in the flow of things. So right now, it's about like how do we shift ourselves? Like let's get into we might have some broken parts. We might still we not like not everything is repaired overnight or within 6 days, from the 9th till the 15th, and all of a sudden like life is repaired and let's be joyous and celebrate. But we can focus on okay, we've focused now on like the broken parts in the last 3 weeks, really, of the 3 weeks of like the morning of the destruction, the general energy and the personal energy of like what's my brokenness and we went quiet a little bit within and around, and we didn't do celebrations and music and joy and that kind of thing. And now we're trying to like step out of that little cocoon and say, how can I show up in more of a dance step into life and more of um a feminine, beautiful Malchut energy, because this is what like the essence, like the girls went out in white dresses, in purity, in holiness, in femininity, and it was like it's almost like I mean in South Africa it's actually quite nice because it's like coming towards I mean we'll have rainy days and probably like on Shabbat check the weather on this Shabbat will might just be rain for 70%, but the timing's changing, even like we've already past that stage where like it's now becoming more summer. But in Israel, it's the opposite way. But it doesn't matter. It's not about the weather. It's about the weather pattern inside us. It's about what's going on. Um, like I mean, even Hanukkah could be in like snow in Israel or in around the world, and they make it's a celebration of light. It's not about like what the weather's like. It's about what's the weather pattern inside. So stepping into this like tuba of innocence, like like the virgins used to go out, like the young maidens who hadn't got would sort of like it was like almost like a speed dating event, like go pick your bride. And I was actually joking with my daughter last night. I was like, there's so many girls coming for the wedding, there's so many boys coming for the wedding. Let's just make a speed dating event. It would just be easier for easier for them, easier for the parents. Like how cool would that be? Um, anyway, so this Tu B'Av is actually a very opportune time for praying for shidduchim, for praying for matches, for like anyone who wants to find their soulmate. And there is something about that bake, for example, where everybody signs up to pray and puts in names of like people that they want to pray for who need a potential shidduch, which means like a match, and like finding their soulmate, looking for their zivug, their soulmate that's been destined to them, but like for some reason has been blocked by the blockages of the universe. That doesn't mean like Hashem wants to give us always everything, but sometimes like we or circumstances or things have blocked us from getting the flow of that. And the like sometimes a prayer or an intention of someone praying for someone else, or even praying for yourself, pray for others and then pray for yourself, or like give tzedakah and then pray for yourself, or whatever, and pray for others, would always can always open a blockage and like bring down the flow, because there's always a free flow from Hashem, and like there's blockages that we've blocked or that circumstances have blocked, from either our past life or our current life or things that we are unknown to us. We don't know all the reasons, but we do know that like we can really tap into the free flow. We call that shefa, abundance that is coming from Hashem. And like, how do you tap into the shefa? is number one, firstly, to believe that it's there. How do you tap into the belief? It starts with a little bit of gratitude, a little bit of connection, a little bit of thanking Hashem, a little bit of stepping out of our misery. And this is the essence of what we're trying to do. Like when we're miserable about something, the first way to get out of it is to find the little cracks of light. Like because you can't always jump from the dark to the light. So you have to find a little crack of light. So like what's a little tiny thing that I want to thank Hashem for? What's a tiny thing that's going on, and just like breathe that through, like breathe it in, breathe it out, um and try to believe that like Hashem's leading you for a reason, for a good reason through the dark. Like it's not easy and it's painful. And like we sometimes question like, but why? Like, why am I like, why does it have to be so dark? Why does it have to be the way is not led up with light? It's not shining in front of me. I'm not privy to see the pathway. I'm not, I don't clearly, I'm in a tunnel. I don't clearly see the end of the tunnel, but trust that there's an end of the tunnel and trust that Hashem's taking you through the shortest route to get to that end of the tunnel. And there's a reason for the runaround. There's a reason that the Jewish people had to go through the deserts and to eventually get to the ultimate, Eretz to the promised land. They had to go through something in order to fix something. Sometimes we have to go through something to fix something. It's called the process of cleansing ourselves, of teshuvah, of it, like we know that any suffering that happens in this world, and this is for us not to say about others, but our own suffering, is just because Hashem loves us and Yisurim ba'ava. We have like afflictions with love that basically bring us towards um, our place in, please God, in the next world, that we shouldn't have to suffer, because the suffering that we think is like heavy in this world is like totally minute compared to the next world. And the next world is like a much more um, the sensory like experience of, even though it's not physical, but the sensory experience from a spiritual point of view of any kind of suffering would be much larger than even in this world. If we can't really imagine it, because we don't have like, we're not such spiritual beings that can understand the spiritual world, but because the eyes are so open, what does it mean suffering? In the next world, if we see that we've done something wrong, it pains us so much more on a deep soul level than we can see in this world. This world, we're like, oh, okay, we made a mistake. Like, I feel bad, I'm sorry. Like, but in the next world, we have so much clarity to like the implications of our mistake, and we see like the whole picture. And so the Gehenna of the next world, the hell of the next world, is not like outside induced. It's not that like, oh my gosh, you're going to be this, that, and the other that's going to happen to you. It's just like being in tune with what your mistakes have been is enough of a hell. So nowadays, when we atones for our mistakes, and we don't get shown those mistakes in the next world, and like they get erased. And that is the Yisurim Ba'ava. That's why anything that we go through in this world as a people, as a nation, as a community, and individually, we need to see it as a kindness from Hashem, because it's erasing mistakes of our past. It's of this life or past life. Like sometimes not only this life. You might, please God, everyone's perfect and does but I mean, like I'm sure everybody can find certain things that they were not perfect at or aren't currently perfect at. But even in terms of a past life, like something we're here to repair things until we can get to the point where our neshama is complete, our soul is complete. It's been repaired, it's been made closer to Hashem. So we're breaking out of that little darkness and out of that little tunnel by finding cracks of light. So that is a crack of light. To understand that suffering, that my suffering isn't in vain, is a crack of light in itself. And and then to trust that Hashem's good is a crack of light. To trust that Hashem gives me and loves me and has abundance for me and has the direction of exactly what's needed for me. And whether it seems right to me or seems wrong to me, sometimes I don't know, but Hashem knows, and that's what I need to trust, and like to be able to, I said to I was talking to one of my kids, and I was like, they were stressed about something, and I said the reason that it's because something wasn't working out, and again it wasn't working out, and they're like, I've prayed and I've asked Hashem, and why is it not working out? Like And I said, the trick is really to give it over, not to pray and still control it. Like to pray, but to like to dive into Hashem, but actually to give it over, to like fully give it over, to say, Hashem, I'm not in charge of the outcome. Whatever happens, I know you, I know that you're in charge of it. Like if you give it over completely, it works. And like I can tell you, like the next time that my kid engaged with this thing, like it worked, Baruch Hashem, and it was like, and I said, oh, you gave it over, well done. Like so it's like it's not, I mean, there's a spiritual science behind life, and Hashem needs us to like sort of like learn the path through trial and error. Sometimes like we think we're praying for something and we're giving it over, but we're not quite giving it over. We're still controlling it. We're still, if you're nervous about something, I told my kid, I was like, you're nervous about it means you haven't given it over. You're controlling it because you're nervous about it means that you think that you're in control. Why would you be nervous about it? If you gave it over, it means Hashem's in control and Hashem's got your back fully and you have nothing to be nervous of. So that's like obviously it's normal, it's human. I validate, I understand you're human. So of course we have our nerves, you know what I'm saying? But we have to work on our subconscious nerves. When a nerve comes up, we say, we don't have to be nervous. Hashem's got it. Like that's just every single time. It's just a way to say, like, hey, I don't have to be stressed. Hashem's got this. That's a crack of light. Then these are the little cracks of light that I'm talking about here. In order to step into the light, we have to find the cracks of light through the tunnel. Then we finally find the end of the tunnel. We find the light and we come out of it and it's light. Please God. And sometimes it takes longer, like, 40 years in the desert until you get there. And sometimes it takes the next generation. And sometimes, please God, in our lifetime, we find that we get there. And whatever it is, it's the path that's supposed to happen. And we need to trust that Hashem's giving us that pathway. This is the, and anyway, so we're moving to Tu B'Av. Tu B'Av is supposed to be a very, like the opposite, on the opposite side. It's like going from one extreme to the other, from like deep mourning to deep celebration. And the Rambam says when you want to middle out, you have to go from one extreme to the other in order to middle out. So like if you've been like steeped in mourning and we got to go to like have like a holiday just a few days later of big celebration, and then we can carry on being in the middle path, of like equanimity, which is like no matter what happens to me, mad, sad, bad, glad, I'm still, because Hashem's with me and I trust, and the path of the middle path. So sometimes we have these highs and lows in the Jewish calendar, and it's beautiful, and it keeps us growing and moving and like being dynamic and not stagnant. And that's what we learn from this movement. So let's take a bird's eye view at what happens since the beginning of the biblical year, if we can, because we've been going on this track. Like for those of you that's like just joined, we've been going on this track since, well, forever, but like the last 20 years. But every year we start again, and there's like two new Jewish years. There's the biblical New Year, which is the month of Nisan. Sorry for the background noise. They're doing sports right next door here. And then we also have the new Jewish year, which is the new like holiday. I would say not the holiday, the new resolution type of New Year, which is Tishrei, which is Rosh Hashanah. So we're right now we're like 5 months, Nisan, Iyar, Sivan, Tammuz, Av. We're, as a Jewish nation, left Egypt and came to when we left Egypt, and we came out of Egypt and we got the Torah at Mount Sinai, and just knock on the door, then they'll stop. It's not good. And so from when we left Egypt, we came out, we got the Torah, Nisan, Iyar, Sivan, then Tammuz. We like went through the calendar of the 3 weeks of mourning and destruction for the temples. Okay, it's not obviously in chronological order of like, yeah, I mean it is in order, but I'm saying like it's a big jump in history to later on what we're commemorating. But even then, it's like from the early days, Moses went up the mountain. He got the first set of luchot, the tablets. He came down 40 days later. He saw the Jewish people were in a mess. They had lost hope that he would come down because they miscalculated a day. and they started serving the golden calf because they felt they needed a leader, right? He, he shatters the tablets and this is all around the month of, if I'm not mistaken, Sivan Tammuz, because um, this is exactly when, like, the mourning and the destruction. That's why historically the mourning and destruction happened around then goes up to again for 40 days. Hashem calls him back. We're gonna repair this. I mean, like, Hashem was he was like asking for forgiveness. Hashem was sort of like Hashem teaching him about forgiveness, and like them kind of working in this dance of should we forgive, should we not forgive? But of course, Hashem's ultimate plan was to forgive and teach him about forgiveness and teach him about repairing the Jewish people and bringing them back on track and going through the highs and the lows, and then comes down again 40 days later, and it's from the month of Elul until the 10th of Tishrei, which is, this whole month of, like, next month. We're now in the month of Av, and next month we'll be in the month of Elul. And then it's like all this time about, about atonement. And when we come to Yom Kippur in the Jewish New Year, we'll be asking Hashem to re-king us and to atone us for all our wrongdoings. And then Yom Kippur is a day of atonement, and then we have like sort of like that engagements, engagement period, that little curve in the middle, that little curveball in the middle that we had to get over, like what do I say, like a little bit of non-trust in the relationship, and we had to get over that. And like it's almost like any primary relationship we're experiencing with Hashem, like a little bit of non-commitment that and then stronger, and then going into a new commitment and marriage and reception and celebration and happy long live after, please God. And that long live after will come with its highs and lows and repeat itself every year, because not to say, God forbid, that every year we have like we're unaligned in our trust. We're working on repairing the original breakage of commitment to Hashem, and we'll have these highs and lows between our commitments and our non-commitments, and our happier days and our sadder days, and our you know so all of these kind of things, and then we get to that point where we go through the Jewish high holy days that's coming up, like in the next quarter. So just to show you how, like, the whole calendar, that's just 6 months, but just to show you how, like, the calendar is super dynamic and has its ebbs and flows, and there's a reason for everything. When we are in sync with the universe's, with Hashem's, like, way of, like, flow, like even the moon, for example, we as a woman, we go according to the moon, right? Our cycles like mimic the moon. So when we're in sync with our internal and the external, not to say that we're always going to be in sync with the moon in our cycle, but like, because when we're in sync with Hashem's design and our internal design, then things flow much better. So just stopping for questions or comments or anything. Are there any questions? Okay. Okay, what's interesting about Tu B'Av coming up is that there's no specific like observances or customs, like except that we don't say tachanun, we don't say confession on that day. Like so like on all the festivals, we don't say particularly like, I'm sorry, Hashem, because the day itself atones, because it's such a holy day. So besides, for this week it's Shabbat, so of course we naturally wouldn't say it on Shabbat anyway. So it's a double celebration, the Shabbat. But it says that one should increase in the study of Torah, since the nights in Israel are beginning to grow longer and the night was created for study. And the Talmud tells us that like I said, the daughters of Jerusalem would go and dance in the vineyards on the 15th of Av, and whoever didn't have a wife would go find themselves a bride over there. So, so it's like it's interesting. Like I said, the because there was such a low point in the month of Av, and Av means Menachem Av, Hashem comforts you. Last week it was Shabbat Chazon, the Shabbos of the vision that we had to like kind of like bring ourselves into full strength of our imagination. And instead of being stuck in the morning, we even while in the morning, we had to like find the crack of light and envision a world of peace, envision the Beit HaMikdash that coming down. And I don't know if you guys saw, there was like tons of like cute memes that came out like of the Beit HaMikdash and like of like go on trams with like to Israel and to the temple, and people taking selfies behind them. There's a temple. Like it's just very it was very cool to like see like how AI can give us so much more these days with like the vision of like of the videos that like how it's really going to be. And just as the mystery of like this day is mysterious, because just as like this is the month that was tragic, but then the full moon is the most is most full. Like when I say most full, obviously every full moon is full on the 15th, but it says that this month is the most transformative. Um, and so the world is transforming, and our job is to transform our minds, our hearts, our words, our actions to words of positivity and healing and love and redemption. And like this is like just the um one of the things that I wanted to share. And I'd love to hear if you have any inputs, if you'd like to say anything. I was just like looking for one thing that I prepared over here. So yeah, anyone can pipe in if you'd like. So um the Talmud considers Tu B'Av to be the greatest festival of the year. It's great. It's really interesting because like there's so many big festivals like Rosh Hashanah, the big New Year, Nisan, Pesach, like Passover. That's like the day we became a nation, and like Yom Kippur, but like that's like a close second. But the first day, the day that's like the greatest festival of the year, like Tu B'Av, like how could that be? Like in the saddest month, just how could it be that it's like there's so much celebration? So what do you like? You can give me ideas, like what you think, and there's no right or wrong. It's just
What do you mean, Z's?
like why would it be like the biggest seller, like what the Talmud considers the greatest festival of the year?
I think because it represents growth and creation, really, from a growth, like it's about the trees and stuff, no?
Oh, so no, the trees is Tu B'Shvat. That's a very good point. It's also a 15th, but that's in the month of Shvat. That's the new year for the trees. This is it's not actually there's no like as I said, there's no customs attached to this. It's a different it's also the 15th. It's also full moon, but this represents the celebration of reawakening, of life, of marriage, continuity, like all this kind of it's really like you said, it's growth, the growth, but there's a specific point that I want to bring out here. Anyone want to try or like think about what comes out of darkness? Like it's interesting, like sometimes it says that in the place where a Baal Teshuva stands, a tzaddik cannot stand. Like in other words, this tzaddik is a holy person who's righteous from day one. But why is someone who has made so many mistakes in their life and now has come to the right path, why are they placed on a higher pedestal than someone who's always been pure? So that's being pure. and like who's made mistakes, what we call a Baal Teshuvah, someone who's now come back and is a master of return. Why they've returned to Hashem. Why they are placed on a higher pedestal
Can I say?
than
Can I
yes,
say what I think?
yeah,
So, I think like a tzaddik would have never had the experience of their Yetzer Hara to actually know what a cheeseburger tastes like, for example, or what McDonald's tastes like, unkosher food tastes like. And so Baal Teshuva does. And
hmm
so like if they don't know if a tzaddik doesn't know what they taste like, they don't know what they're missing. And where Baal Teshuva would, and they can literally stand and say, no, I don't want that, or something like
right,
that. But they
right,
are
and it's much
they
harder.
can,
Exactly.
Good. I think it's the glory to Hashem is far greater because of what that person had to go
Overcome.
through and overcome.
hmm
Yeah, they had
Yeah,
to
the
overcome
glory of
and
Hashem.
then still choose Hashem. So I think it speaks to his greatness.
Right. So it speaks to the glory of Hashem of being, and it speaks to the glory of that person of like you said, Chayar as well, like overcoming something that's difficult through the Yetzer Hara, through our animal soul that has cravings and desires and has like been, and also maybe even habits that have been difficult to break, and like has worked so hard and has done so much avoda, so much work to step into a higher, holier like level and to be connected to Hashem and to trying to like just let the godly soul lead versus the animal soul because we're so like we work in tandem and it's so hard, it's so easy to just fall into like the animal soul leading. It's like, oh man, just that chocolate, or oh man, just that read, or oh man, just that connection with someone that's like or just that
It's the peak.
and it's like, huh?
It's like the peak of. It's like Hashem is saying, this is the peak of what how the Torah can transform
Exactly,
you
exactly. This
from
is
total darkness to this light. And it's that person's observance to the Torah, which is from Hashem. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly the point. That like the Torah can be our guiding light. It's the thing that pulls us out of the dark. It's like I want to be sometimes in the dark, but Hashem, I want to be close to you. So therefore, I want to move out of the dark so I can be closer to the light. So any light that comes after darkness is so much more potent than just light that came from light, like just plain light. So the fact that Tu B'Av, this moon, comes after a very sad and down period and now comes into a happy period, that is what makes it the highest level of celebration of the year. Like, so it comes from it and it teaches us the lesson of ourselves as human beings, of as Jewish people, as people who are striving to be on the path to that, like it doesn't matter if you came from a dark place. You can reach a higher level of light in Hashem's eyes because of the dark, not despite the dark, because of the dark. So the fact is that Hashem values your teshuvah, Hashem values your return, Hashem values that the light that you bring with you to the world when we come out of the dark and we find those cracks of light. Not easy, and Hashem knows that, and therefore this holiday has gotten this beautiful um aspect of being like the highest moon of the year because it came straight out of the dark. So it's a really big lesson to all of us. And what I think we're going to do now is we're going to just like bring it into our bodies and just like have a few minutes of meditation, even with the noise around us. I'm just going to stand up and close this window, as best as possible to keep the noise levels at bay. Okay. So just put away your phones and any distractions and uncross your legs, uncross your arms. Don't worry about outside distractions. Sit comfortably in your chair or on your bed or wherever you are, the floor, feet on the ground. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And just gently relax your shoulders every deep breath in and then relax your body a little bit more. So breathe it in. And breathe out, relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the tummy muscles, relaxing your sitting bones, relaxing your legs, relaxing your arms. Upright but relaxed. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And in for 4 and out for 6. And in for 4 and out for 6. And take the deepest breath you've taken all day. Bringing that oxygen and that fullness and that goodness into your body, and breathe out all the old stale energy. Breathing in the oxygen, breathing out the carbon dioxide. Just gently keep on breathing and follow into your breath, just an observer to your breath. Just breathing gently, not to change it, just to observe it. And if you feel like you need some calming, just breathe in for a few times until you resume normal pattern of 4 and 4. And as you're breathing in and out, we're going to try to breathe in some of the concepts we've learned today and breathe out some of the things we want to let go of. So breathing in, letting go, letting God, breathing, bringing God in, and breathing out, letting go, letting go of past struggles, of past darkness, breathing in the light, breathing out the dark. Breathing out the stress. Trust and faith. Breathing out, holding on to control. Breathing in surrender, full, complete surrender. Hashem is all for us, that's good. Plan. Breathing out, I need to control this. Could let it go, just breathe it out. And without judgment, whatever to your breath. Doesn't matter if outside noises or thoughts of the past or the future come to you, just gently bring yourself back to breath. Breathing in the good and breathing out that what we want to get rid of. This is the beauty of Neshima, breath, and the gift of life. We can filter the things we want in and take the things we want out, all within our own sphere of influence, ourselves. Can't change anything around us, but we could change, feel about it, how we think about it, how we show up to it. And breathing in some of that femininity of the Tu B'Av of this coming holiday. Breathing out any masculinity that we've picked up that we don't need. It's always good to have a balance, but the stuff that's too much, let it go. The softening, breathe in the softening of the feminine spirit. Breathe out the harsh criticism and control on ourselves and others. Breathing in rejuvenation and opportunity and new light and new cracks of light. Breathing out the dark tunnels and the mourning. And just gently whisper a prayer for Hashem to keep us doing this whenever we can. Take the few minutes to heal. and realign and come back to exactly who we are, led by our godly soul, and put the animal soul in the passenger seats and the godly seats and work together as a team with the godly soul leading us, led by Hashem, with trust and faith and feminine spirits as young as the young maiden dancing with trust and faith to find her soulmates. We're finding our inner purpose, our soul's purpose. Okay, and gently last breath in and out for this meditation. And just roll your shoulders back, sit up straight, gently open your eyes with a downward gaze until you're ready to come back into the room, into the space. And just one nugget, what you're leaving with. You can put it in the chat or you could just say it out loud. One word, one sentence, whatever works for you.
Simplify and go back to basics.
There you go.
Refresh.
Refresh. Okay. Have a beautiful week and happy to above. Okay. All the best. God bless.